straight out to Ted Rowlands, a CNN correspondent who's on the ground in Kansas. You've just come out of court. Ted, what were the biggest stunners from the mouth of this ex-cop who prosecutors say executed his sleeping wife?
Well, I tell you, Jane, it was his demeanor. You couldn't see it, unfortunately, because, as you mentioned, he did not want his face shown during his testimony, but the jury saw his face, and we could see his face in the courtroom, and he's one of these guys that when he gets nervous, he smiles, and he was trying to almost entertain in some level the jury. He was not coming across as sincere because of that. When he was talking about the fact that his wife wanted a divorce and he claimed he didn't want one, there was no emotion. When he was recounting that moment where he found out about the divorce, there was no emotion at all. Jurors, at first, when he took the stand, all had their notepads out. They were absolutely riveted. When he started telling long-winded stories and jokes, saying that he was at Panera Bread for 90 minutes, which is long in Panera terms, lead balloon time. Everybody just, it was awkward. It was almost awkward, where jurors stopped staring at him, stopped taking notes. He lost jurors because of the lack of emotion. I think that translates to lack of sincerity as he went through the pre-time before the murder. He's going to have to change his tune and his demeanor as he gets into the actual day of the murder if he has any chance of convincing this jury that he is not behind it.
Let's debate it. Is this testimony humanizing this defendant, or are we seeing a narcissist who only wants to hear what they want to hear, starting with Jordan Rose for the prosecution?
You know, it's interesting because I think this guy is going to get crushed on cross-examination. We have to be overly careful when we have these police officers and folks who know the law and who know what the CSI guys are going to look for when they're examining the crime. I mean, he knows what to do and what not to do. And so in the direct examination, he looks like a star, but in cross, they have got to be meticulous, because this is an officer of the law and he could get away with murder.
Heather Hansen for the defense.
Jane, I think so far today he has come across as sort of removed, and he's going to need to spend some more time in the witness stand to become more comfortable. As he becomes more comfortable, I'm hopeful for the defense that he's going to become a little bit more relatable, because thus far he's really not presenting well, and that can only get worse on cross-examination.
All right, we are going to go to John Lieberman. You're itching to get in.
Jane, every word this guy says puts him a step closer to a guilty verdict. I mean, his story defies any credibility. And keep in mind, he's only testifying because the judge said before the trial started that they could only admit certain evidence if he actually testified to it. For example, allegations of affairs and allegations that she talked about suicide twice in the past. His story doesn't add up. He talks about, torching hard drives because he's worried about identity theft, but yet he leaves his old cell phone on his desk with the door to his office open. His story has a million holes in it.